Hello, Dumela. Welcome to the Dumela America podcast. Today we have a very special episode with a very special guest. I have the big job of hosting the U.S. Ambassador to Botswana, Mr. Howard Van Vranken, who is going to give us insight into who he is, what he does here at the embassy, and what the U.S. government, through the U.S. embassy, is doing here in Botswana. Welcome, sir.
Dumela Kato. I'm delighted to be here with you. Thank you for having me.
coming.
Thank you.
Can you introduce yourself and tell Botswana something that you would like them to know about you?
Sure. I'm Howard Van Vranken. I'm the ambassador here. I've been here for about 2.5 years now. I'm a professional diplomat, so I've been doing diplomacy for the United States for about 37 years. And I'm delighted to be here in Botswana. I see Botswana as a tremendous partner of the United States and a place where we have a range of shared values and interests. So it's a great job, and I've just been welcomed to Botswana with such graciousness that it's been a real pleasure to be here. Yeah.
Wonderful. Speaking about 30 years of being a diplomat, what brought you on this career path?
Well, it's interesting. I was a student in Switzerland, and when I was there, I met a young diplomat, and I thought, oh, that's kind of an interesting job. I should remember that. And so when I came to graduate, at that time there was a test that people took to become a diplomat, and so I took the test and I passed it, and then eventually I was invited to join the diplomatic service. So it was just something I tried. Yeah.
So it was inspiration from another diplomat.
I think that's a good way to look at it, And I mean, I've always believed in life that you should really try a variety of different things. And so I had done various kinds of work, in my short career up until that time. And when I joined the diplomatic service, I really enjoyed it, and I feel like I'm a patriot, and I'm also someone who believes deeply in public service. And so I was thrilled to find some place where I could travel, I could meet different people from different cultures. Yeah. It's like permanent learning, and to represent my country, it was just an honor. So I've been very, very fortunate.
Nice. So a lot of people might be curious, like, what's your typical day at the U.S. Embassy in Botswana? Like, what does your day look like as the ambassador?
Yeah, that's a great question. So our goal here in Botswana and in Southern Africa, in the world writ large, is to help to make the United States and our partner countries stronger, safer, and more prosperous. So that's what I try to remember. Everything I do, everything that the embassy does, should be focused on those goals. Now, what that translates into on a day-to-day basis means a variety of activities, whether it's supporting Peace Corps volunteers who are here in Botswana. Yes. It's talking to the government about ways the United States and Botswana can collaborate and sort of connect on economic development kinds of activities. If it means, talking to the people of Botswana like I'm doing now, I think this is an important thing for the United States to do, to sort of talk about what we do and to try to build those kinds of relationships. A little bit later today, I'm going to host a number of graduates of the YALI. Those are people that we've selected who've spent some time in the United States. Usually it's kind of a Northern Hemisphere summer, and they've gotten some familiarity and been able to see how the United States operates. And so I'm delighted to talk to them. There are several hundred here in Botswana who over the years have been able to participate. And I think those are the kinds of sort of individual diplomacy. Those are the kinds of interactions that I think are really important to build a stronger, safer, more prosperous Botswana in the United States. So that's the kind of thing that I will do. I mean, last week, for example, an American company reopened the Tataki mine. It was the old Tati nickel mine. Yeah. They had invited me to come up, and it was great to talk with them, to talk with some people in the government. And what I'm trying to understand is, why were they successful in restarting this mine, and how can we use the lessons that they learned to help other companies, particularly American companies, start operations here? And there's some really interesting prospects there. So that's the kind of thing that I'm involved with on kind of a day-to-day basis. The embassy is an organization of a couple of hundred people, if you can believe it or not.
Okay.
And so there's a lot that goes into sort of managing that and leading leading that kind of an organization, whether that means making sure that people understand what the expectations are, that we're all working towards the same goal, and then just the normal sort of activities that we get involved with. No, it's been a fascinating and very, very interesting and rewarding time here in Botswana.
Absolutely. You mentioned that the embassy staff is up to about 100 people. What would you say is your leadership style to like all those people that are under you?
I think we're about 200 actually. Between most of them are Botswana.
Yeah.
I would say that my leadership style, I try to be transparent and very direct. I mean, I'm not a very sophisticated person, I think, and so I like to think about what is it we're trying to do, and how are we trying to achieve those goals?
Yeah.
And so I like to be very straightforward and honest and candid about that. When I think if I had to pick out one word about my style, what I try to do is to be transparent. You know, I want to be fair.
Yeah.
I want to be respectful, but I think transparent would be the quality that I would point to. You know, my goal as a leader of an organization which employs more than 100 Botswana. And I say this all the time to our employees. I think they believe me, but I want our embassy to be the very best employer in all of Botswana. And, however you look at that, to me, the foundation of that is respect. You know, I want people to feel respected when they work for us. I want them to feel motivated because they believe in what we're trying to achieve here, both for the United States and for Botswana. I want them to have fair compensation, of course. And so I think that that's a component to it. And then I really want them to enjoy what they do. I mean, we have an exciting and very, very energized agenda of activities here. And I want people to get up in the morning on Monday and think, gosh, I have a week. I can't wait to go to work.
Yeah.
And then when they go home on Friday, I want them to think, wow, look at all that I did. That's the way I feel.
And look forward to Monday.
And look forward to Monday as well. And I want them to enjoy it. So I think that's the way I would describe it.
Yeah. So your job as an ambassador has led you to Botswana. When you first heard of Botswana, like what were your impression? What did you expect, and how has that evolved since the time that you've been here?
So I've been lucky enough to know a number of people, though I had never been in Botswana before I came here as ambassador. I had been lucky enough to know a number of people who've served it here all the way back into the 90s, so from earlier in Botswana's history. And so I talked to them about it. And so, I knew that Botswana was a different kind of a place, and that people in Botswana, the Botswana themselves, are special for a number of... No, it's the truth. It's the truth. I mean, a good friend of mine is Joe Huggins. He was ambassador here more than 20 years ago. And he, I've known him since before he was the ambassador. And I just saw him a few weeks ago in Washington. And he always says, Botswana's a special place. And this is another guy who's been around for 30 years. He served all over Africa. And so there's no question about it. I came to recognize that, it's impossible for me to think about Botswana without thinking about diamonds. Diamonds and democracy. I think that those are the two things that before I came here, that was the thing that I associated with Botswana the most.
Okay, and that hasn't changed over time?
It's changed a lot.
Yeah.
It's changed a lot.
Okay.
Since I've come to Botswana, I've come to really admire and appreciate some of the cultural strengths of this place. These are things that people in Botswana take for granted, but as an outsider, I have a perspective where I can appreciate them in a much more holistic way. I'm talking about things like boto. I mean, this is a cultural value that I wish that we had more of in the United States.
Yes.
This sort of sense of community, this idea that, I can't be good if you're not good, that we move together. The idea of, I think you call it teresanyo, this idea of a consultative governance, that we talk about our problems. I'm just struck by Botswana and the rich culture that you have here. And it's something I really appreciate that I didn't fully appreciate before I came.
Thank you. Can you educate our audience about the current U.S. government policy goals?
Yeah, as I say, I think broadly speaking, our policy goals are to make the United States and our partners safer, stronger, and more prosperous. You can define that in a lot of ways,
Yeah.
But that's broadly speaking what we're trying to do. When we talk about safe, that means that strong partners, strong America is generally is a safer world, and so we want to find ways that we can strengthen our institutions, strengthen our ability to respond to crises. And we want to make sure that like-minded friends and governments, like in Botswana, have that same sort of strength and adeptness. Want them to be stronger, and stronger means building the societies, building the kinds of relationships that mean that you have friends, that you can do things that are going to be positive. Yes. That's a real strength. That means that you're strong, and then more prosperous means that we have the kinds of trading relationships that are fair to everybody, and that we're able to work together. I think that those are the three key things that I'm focused on.
Very well said. Can you explain how the embassy engages with youth, with entrepreneurs, with creatives across Botswana, and can you name like one moment where those engagements have stood out to you or made it feel like the journey was worth it?
Oh yeah, no, I mean there's a number of ways that we do this. We have various cultural exchange programs, for example, and this is where we might bring people from the United States to Botswana, and they engage with people here in Botswana. For example, last year we hosted a professor of entrepreneurship who taught at a college here in Botswana, in Tlokwe, and engaged with the youth widely and taught entrepreneurship. That was one example. I want to say it was earlier this year. We had a hip hop group, an urban artist group, come here. They toured around Botswana. They gave concerts. They did demonstrations. They engaged with creatives and young people in Botswana who were engaged in those kinds of activities as well. It was kind of an exchange. It was a really successful program. I mean, I think it's an introduction of American culture into Botswana. I mean, American culture is all over the world. Let's face it. But I think that this was very kind of targeted to address certain young people, certain groups of young people. So I think it was very, very interesting. I mean, we're doing a variety of things we have Peace Corps volunteers here. And one of the things that the Peace Corps volunteers are involved in, they're involved in some health things. They help with economic development. But some of them are also in schools. So they're connected in the classrooms, in the schools with students, with Botswana students, whether they're helping to teach classes, or they're providing support and organization for like after-school activities, intramural sports and things like that, or they're doing some basic counseling. So those are some examples. I mentioned that this afternoon I'm going to get together with these young people who are Mandela Washington Fellows. Thank you very much, Kato. And so I'm looking forward to hearing what their impression of the United States is, and what we can do to kind of continue to build those relationships.
Absolutely. So we have an upcoming series called Kotla Talks, where the ambassador will be on my seat as the host. Can you tell us what you intend to do with that series?
Yeah, I want to talk with people in Botswana, and I want to talk about things that are meaningful to them. I want to see where there's a nexus between what the United States is seeking to achieve and what people in Botswana do, and what they want to try to achieve. I think a big part of diplomacy is communication, and while some of communication is talking, I think most of it is just hearing people out. And so I want to draw them out and hear what they think about the United States. What they think about contemporary issues, what they think about the future of Botswana is, because the United States has been a partner with Botswana since before independence, and we have a long friendship, and that friendship is built on mutual values, democracy, a rule of law, a respect for rights. And I, we've been doing this for more than 60 years here. I want my grandchildren to come back to Botswana and see a place that still is thriving and still, shares the same kind of cultural values of the United States. They say in the Peace Corps that what they're trying to do is to plant the seed of a tree from which they'll never see the shade. Because they're thinking forward. So I want to think forward a little bit, and I want to draw people out from Botswana about a variety of issues.
Oh, that's powerful. So I understand that in 2026, America will be celebrating its 250th independence, and Botswana will be celebrating 60. Can you explain why that is important, why that celebration is important to both countries, and what do you have planned for over the next year?
It's a great question. I mean, I love the coincidence that we're both celebrating very important milestones.
Yeah.
I think that it's important for us to acknowledge that. The reality is that democracy doesn't just happen. It's created by everyone's participation, by voters, by citizens, by leaders. And so I think that we want to reflect on that. The United States has had a very long history and a vigorous debate. We recognize that we don't all see everything the same all the time.
Yeah.
And so I think that this is an opportunity for everyone to come together and to celebrate what has really been an astonishingly successful experiment in human history. Botswana is part of that as well. I mean, what Botswana has been able to achieve in its relatively short history is really amazing, and I think it's appropriate for us all to step back, reflect on what that means, reflect on how we got here. Because as I say, this is a really it's been a challenging road, and the things that Botswana's been able to achieve, with the development that you've had, with the incredibly effective governance, particularly of your resources. These are things that other places in the world haven't done. Overcoming challenges like HIV/AIDS. It's really astonishing. In some respects, I think it really is a miracle. And so I think that it's important for us all to step back, think about how we got here, celebrate that we're at where we are, and then to think a little bit more about how we can improve as we go forward. So I'm looking forward to it. In terms of what we're planning to do, we have a very ambitious schedule and of activities and celebrations. It's going to be all over Botswana. I'm looking forward to being up in Chikawe, to Francistown, to Soroe, to Sabong. I'm hoping to get to again, out to Maun. I've not been to Charles Hill. I got to get to Charles Hill. Who doesn't want to go to Charles Hill? As well as places closer here near Gaborone. So I think we're going to have a very ambitious program.
And I must say, I'm looking forward to the Kotla chats as you do all those
Terrific.
Programs. So I'm sure our audience are curious to know just a little bit about you outside of work. Can you tell me, what do you enjoy most about living in Botswana, whether it's the places you've visited, whether it's the food you've eaten, or your weekend activities?
I think it's all of the above.
Okay.
I've been able to travel around a lot of Botswana. I've been blessed to have gone on a number of safaris. And so, like every other visitor to Botswana, I'm just really impressed and amazed by the conservation that's happened here, by the wildlife, by the beauty of the nature, and by the incredibly hospitable way in which it's presented to foreigners like myself. Botswana are very sharing and giving people, and they've been remarkably generous in terms of sharing this, really remarkably beautiful place. So that's one thing I think. I mean, if I think about things that I've enjoyed doing while I've been here, that's certainly one of them. I like to get out into nature. I'm a golfer, so I like to play golf. Okay. And Botswana has some good golf courses that I've been lucky enough to play. And I enjoy being with the people of Botswana. I mean, my goal is to shake every Botswana's hand before I leave here. I probably won't succeed at that, but I want them to realize that, Americans are just like people in Botswana.
Absolutely. Have you had a chance to try pani yet?
I've had it a couple of times, and I'm going to give it another shot. Yeah, I'm gonna make sure I can do it. Yeah, and hopefully we'll film something and be able to document that. But I love the food here in Botswana. I'm crazy about saswa, and a variety of other things. So yeah, it's very good.
Okay, great. Can you share a Setswana word or phrase that you use often?
Wow, Kia la bocha is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I've been talking a little bit about teresanyo
Yes.
and boto. Which are concepts that I really appreciate and value. I'm trying to think of. I just haven't learned enough Botswana or Setswana.
Yeah.
But that's something. If I had to point to one thing that I regret, I wish that I could speak Setswana better.
I think you do all right.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Okay, just as we get ready to shut off our show, do you have any last words, whether to Botswana or anybody?
Well, I think that I would just congratulate Botswana on its Independence Day. I think that Botswana has really been a remarkable country. To me, it's testimony about what inspired leadership and perseverance can achieve. So I would say that. I would also be remiss if I didn't congratulate Botswana on the thrilling 4x400 meter win in Tokyo. It was a shocking race. Not only did they catch the United States, but the South Africa guy almost caught him at the end, and it was incredible. If it had gone 10 more meters, I wonder if the results might not have been different. But the United States appreciates strong competition. It makes us all better. And certainly that was a great race. I think it was sweet revenge for what happened in Paris last summer, and that again was just such an exciting race. So I would wish congratulations to Botswana, and on both the Independence Day and its victory in Tokyo.
Okay, thank you very much for being on our show.
Thank you, Kato.
And that is a wrap for today's episode of the Dumela America podcast. But before we close off, I would like to announce that we have a new LinkedIn page. So you can find us on LinkedIn and follow us under the name U.S. Embassy Gaborone Botswana. This is where we're also going to post this interview and also some of our exchange program opportunities and programming opportunities. From us at Dumela America, thank you for watching. See you next time.
See ya.